In 1988, Rosemary Johnson was a violinist for the Welsh National Opera. Her future looked bright until a car accident changed everything. After waking up from a coma, doctors informed her that she would never be able to move again. And for the next 30 years, Rosemary's violin remained silent. But now, almost 30 years later, thanks to some cutting-edge technology, Rosemary is beginning to make music again. Working with specially designed software, she can alter notes and musical phrases by simply focusing her eyes on different colored lights on a computer. When I read about this, I was reminded of a principle that we sometimes forget: the stillness of God. Sometimes it can feel like we're stuck, that no matter how many prayers we offer to change our circumstances, God remains unmoved, silent. But does that mean He stopped working? Does that mean He is absent? No, far from it. At the end of His earthly ministry, Christ reminds the church, "And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age." The last words were a reminder that while Christ's visible presence was about to depart, His spiritual presence by the Holy Spirit would remain close. Jesus gives us both a promise and a descriptor of His character. God's presence and activity in our lives is constant, and it will never be withdrawn from us. And yet throughout history, He has used stillness to shape the character and stories of those through whom He's worked powerfully. People like Job, Abraham, Joseph, and John the Baptist experienced it. Even Christ experienced it in the Garden of Gethsemane. In that moment, I'm sure Jesus experienced the doubt and confusion we so often feel when confronted with the stillness of God. But did that mean God had stopped working? Of course not. In fact, God was about to accomplish our salvation, His most important work of all history. So while at times we too might feel anxious as we enter into the stillness with God, we should remember that, like Rosemary, outward stillness doesn't mean that nothing is happening. His silence can be a sign of His closeness and love. The beautiful music of God's work in our lives is always playing. We may not be hearing it yet, but one day we will hear it in all its glory forever. I'm Joseph Tkach, speaking of life.